Good day, this is Professor Slabbert. I am your lecturer for professional ethics for this year. So with these YouTube videos, I'm taking you through the study guide and explain to you why you have to do ethics and the meaning of ethics. But before I start, this first video link is only general. Therefore, if you've watched it once, it's not necessary to do it again. But take note of the information that I give here. First of all, I cannot help you with any questions that you have about your assignments or exams. You have to contact the different departments. I am in Brooklyn, opposite Brooklyn Mall. My office is here, and therefore I cannot just quickly run to assignments and sort out things. Therefore, please understand, I do not keep the assignments nor the exams in my office, so I cannot help you with administrative issues. Okay, but let's come to ethics. Why do you have to do ethics? This is a completely different subject than, for example, what you did in criminal law or the law of contracts or the law of dealing. That you could just study, you could memorize it, you write the exam and you have the knowledge. Ethics is completely different. In this subject we focus on you, the lawyer, the person that's going to be an attorney or an advocate one day. And what we are trying to achieve in this module is to teach you what is right and what is wrong. At the end of the day, there is no just one right or wrong, and that you will get to know as I go through this study guide. So I want to teach you how to take the right decision within the circumstances and of course within your profession. As this is professional ethics, therefore we focus on the legal profession. But the knowledge that you gain in this subject you can also use in ordinary daily living, because it is what is right and what is wrong. But I'm going to tell you how to deal with what is right and what is wrong. Before I start with this specific learning unit, I want to make a comment that sometimes students fail an exam and then they come back to me and they say, but I had a 100% year mark. That can happen. Remember that the assignments that we give, first of all, the multiple choice is just to force you to study the work or at least go through your study guide. Then the other question, the written question, has sometimes some relevance to the work in the study guide, but not always. For example, in the first semester, we ask you to go and read an article on ethics. That is, in other words, it's not prescribed for the exams. You have to read the article and answer the questions. You will see it overlaps with what we do in this module. But you cannot think that if you get 100% for your assignments that you will automatically pass this subject. It is not that easy. By the way, this video is for the first and the second semester. It's applicable for both semesters. So do not just think it's for the first semester, it's for first and second semester. But before I go on, I want to read you two quotes, and that in essence encapsulates what ethics is. Ethics is knowing the difference between what you have a right to do and what is right to do. Think about this. And remember that I'm going to help you to determine what is right and what is wrong. But wrong will always be wrong, even if everyone is doing it. And right is right, even if no one is doing it. And this is ethics. This is what we're trying to teach you. So in your study guide, of course you have your tutorial letter, and in your tutorial letter you will get all the basic things that we say. How is your final mark calculated, my particulars, how to contact me, everything is in your tutorial letter, and I assume you are final year students, so you can read. So everything is in your tutorial letter. The first part of the study guide, in other words, those pages, by the way, this is the study guide that you work from. In 2019, we have changed the study guide. So you can go to previous exam papers, that's always a good exercise, but just remember that in 2019, which was last year, we changed the study guide. So if you go back to question papers before 2019, there might be questions that we will not ask again because we did not use that information in the new study guide. So your best guideline is to look at the 2019 question paper. I usually ask more or less the same type of questions, but not exactly the same. Therefore, you are not safe if you only go back to previous exam papers. You have to study your study guide. But in the study guide, you will see that the first part have Roman numbers for page numbers. That whole part you can only read. That is a sort of a way to introduce you to ethics and to indicate to you that ethics is different from any of your other law subjects. I specifically want to go to page 9 of the Roman 9, and there's a box. And I want to explain what I'm going to teach you in this module through that box. And please do not analyze the example. It might be, in your eyes, not a good example, but I think in essence, it indicates what ethics is. Now, that example tells you that usually the Law Society, remember, and I am aware that the law have changed, that we now have the Legal Practice Act, and I apologize. We at UNISA draw up study guides, and then that study guide runs, for example, this one for 3 years. But in the meantime, the law have changed. We cannot accommodate that in the guide because the guide have been published already. But you have to go to my UNISA. You will see there that I have posted under announcements the Legal Practice Act and the new Code of Conduct. So I am aware of it, but you will not be penalized in the exams if you still refer to the Attorneys Act or the Admission of Advocates Act. As we cannot penalize you, it is still part of the study guide. But okay, let's go back to the block on page 9. It says that your guidelines, and in our new dispensation, then the Legal Practice Council, have prescribed fees that lawyers can charge. And the example that I use there is, for example, an attorney that makes a telephone call on behalf of a client can charge 50 Rand for it. If you do that, you are ethical and you are within the rules that's prescribed to you. But now you make a call on behalf of your client and you record on the file that you're making a call, but the call doesn't last a minute because the person that you have to speak to is not there. So what will happen? Telkom will invoice you, let's say, a maximum of 3 Rand for that telephone call. Yet you charge the client 50 Rand. So now my question is it ethical? Yes, 2 arguments. Because it is prescribed, it's ethical. But put yourself in the position of the client. Do you think it's fair? And this is the whole issue of ethics. There's no right or wrong answer. If you charge 50 Rand, I cannot say you are doing wrong. But if you do not charge 50 Rand because you did not speak to anyone, you will be the better person. And that is what we try to teach you, to be the better person, to look at the circumstances and to charge accordingly. But it will become clear as we go through every learning unit. I'm chunking this YouTube videos in order for you to watch it and that it doesn't take too much data or whatever or too much time. So this is now basically the end of the first one, in which I just wanted to introduce myself and to indicate to you what ethics is and why do you have to study it. And by the way, don't think, please don't think you don't have to study ethics. You have to. You will have to go to your study guide. You will have to memorize certain things. I will indicate where that will be necessary. But you cannot just think that you've been brought up very well and you know right from wrong. You cannot just pass on that. That you will not pass. You will have to study your study guide. But I'm going to take you through every learning unit, indicating possible questions that I can ask and how you should approach every learning unit. So this is the end of the general introduction. You have to click on the next link for Learning Unit 1. Thank you.